I imagine death so much it feels more like a memory. Is this where it gets me? On my feet, several feet ahead of me? I see it coming. Do I run or fire my gun or let it be? There is no beat, no melody. Burr, my first friend, my enemy. Maybe the last face I ever see. If I throw away my shot, is this how you'll remember me? What if this bullet is my legacy? Legacy. What is a legacy? Alexander Hamilton was an immigrant from the Caribbean, and at 17, a hurricane destroyed his town. The people of his town raised funds to help him rise and grow. So then, they sent him to New York upon a ship. He knew he had to make his way towards his future. He could not for a single moment slip. Our young orphan met a group of friends, John Lawrence, Hercules Mulligan, Lafayette, and Aaron Burr. He sought each opportunity that he had ever found. His young heart was tempered by a young woman, Elizabeth Schuyler. He wooed her with his words and charming smile. So then, they got engaged, got married, and were forever a pair. He meant to stay at her side for a while. The war was won and bravely fought. Our young orphan rose up to the treasury to lead. His work engulfed him like a tidal wave. And with his kids and wife away, he found an itching need so great that he made a mistake quite grave. A woman asked him for help. She said she was abused and she needed money. Or so then she said. So Alexander gave right in, no questions asked, even when she led him to her bed. Her husband soon became aware and decided to strike a deal and asked Alexander to pay him $1,200 to keep his mouth shut. So Hamilton paid faithfully to conceal his affair, although circumstances seemed a tad strange. Alexander then wrote about his affair in the newspaper. He wrote about his long-year affair, and his enemies took great delight in what he had written down right there. He thought that by writing it down, it would secure his legacy. And despite the fact that he had betrayed her trust, Eliza forgave him. This tore a rift between Hamilton and his young, lovely wife, until a tragedy struck in a duel. Their eldest son, Philip Hamilton, died in a quarrel, and they lived in strife, although this was not the last battle the Hamiltons would face. Throughout the rest of Hamilton's life, him and Aaron Burr were enemies. So Aaron Burr, being so jealous of Alexander, decided to order a duel. So on July 11, 1804, him and Alexander rode across the Hudson at dawn and dueled with guns drawn. So Hamilton shot Burr to scare Burr, and the bullet almost skinned his ear. So Aaron Burr, being scared, then he shot a bullet, and he didn't miss Alexander. It fired and hit Alexander in his ribs. So on July 12, 1804, Alexander Hamilton died at 46 years old with his wife and sister-in-law at his side. Death doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes. And history obliterates, and every picture it paints us in all our mistakes. Every other founding father's story gets told. Every other founding father gets to grow old. But when you're gone, who remembers your name? Who keeps your flame and who tells your story? Alexander Hamilton's enemies outlived him, and when he came to America, he changed the game. It was extremely rare for immigrants to settle in America and make such a big name for themselves. And by him doing so, he started a revolution and started a change. He made a difference, a place where even orphan immigrants can leave their fingerprints and rise up. He became one of the most important people in American history. Now, you ask, what is a legacy? It's planting seeds in the garden you never get to see. Thank you.